This video idea came to me while giving a whole 20-minute TED talk to my friends about how the unit was one of the best survival shows and also one of the shittiest. It has been over 2 years since the show ended and I still, to this day, get pissed whenever I think about it. And since I'm in quarantine and have a lot of self-reflecting time, I thought of turning this into a video. Quick intro. Idol rebooting project. The unit was a South Korean survival reality show on KBS 2. The concept of the show was to form male and female unit groups of 9 members each, among idols who had already debuted. The show aimed to give them a fair chance to demonstrate their talents that they may not have been able to showcase before. For starters, it was an amazing idea and was presented in such a heartwarming and dramatic light that K-pop fans were instantly dragged to it, especially because it was promoted with such big names all over it: Rain, Taemin, Hyuna, Sunny, Jo Ha-na and Hwang Kye-yeol. Pretty much every mentor in that show was or had been in the past among the most famous faces of the industry. Not to mention that the show was also getting attention from all the fans of each group that was being announced to participate on the show. I certainly was very excited because the idea of idols who were being dragged by the saturation of groups in K-pop, not being able to showcase their talents, were getting a second chance. The whole thing sounded very promising to us all. Quick disclaimer. For this video I will not be getting into comparisons between this show and the produced series, because I don't think the obvious similarities between the two shows really matters. I will talk about things that really bothered me about this show. But first I'll mention the good things about it. Not that much favoritism. It wasn't a thing. Though there were some contestants that constantly appeared and were focused on, it didn't feel as if KBS had favorites. I could easily remember 40 names from boys and girls. There were a lot of people that shined throughout the show. Relationship between idols and mentors. It really showcased the strong bond between everyone and it didn't feel staged or faked. Since they were all contestants that had already debuted, they weren't camera shy and it was very uncommonly for me to get bored and skip parts. I was interested in a lot of people and so I didn't feel the need to skip whenever they showed how each team prepared for the missions. Male and female contestants. It was really fun getting to watch both boys and girls. It brought a very dynamic feeling that was very new. Though I wish they would allow for them to interact with the opposite gender on camera more often, but well. Music. Overall the music, both for the missions and the songs that were specially made for the show, were amazing ones. I'm very picky with my music, so I was very pleased throughout the show because most of the songs they chose were amazing. Talent. One thing that was very expected is that the level of abilities of every participant was higher than in other survival shows. So most of them were very good from the beginning and obviously the missions and the ending result of them were mostly very good. Of course there were exceptions, but overall they have a lot of iconic performances that you should get into if you haven't. Overall I think the unit felt very natural and was very easy to watch since everyone involved, idols and mentors, were really likable, talented, funny and it just felt natural. So it was almost relaxing to watch. But now, we will get into all the shitty stuff that really pissed me off. Okay, first thing I will like to get on. Talented but unnoticed contestants. Of course there were a lot of amazing people that were slept on. In survival shows it's almost impossible for this not to happen. But to their advantage, this unnoticed idols were given the highlight at some point in the show. But at the end they just got eliminated. The examples that piss me off the most are Jiseok, Jeongha, Semi. Semi is the one that really made me angry and like, how can you let such a talented person go? Talented but left behind. Unlike the ones I mentioned, these contestants were actually noticed throughout the whole show but just didn't make it to the end and it just felt very wrong to me. This is not to shit over the ones who made it at the end. But man, they did dirty to this people. The examples that piss me off the most are Yuna, Ju, Hangul, Seong, and Legion. Every single one of them had more talent in one bone than the number of hairs in my head. Which is a lot. I don't have much hair, lol. Question and all day. This right here was the reason why I wanted to do this video. All Day was such a market-targeted song. It wasn't anything new or special, just your average K-pop sexy boy group song that sounded like every other song out there. Question on the other hand was such an interesting, unique and intricate song. It is such a special song that till this day makes my heart beat so fast. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the video react to the K made about this song. Anyways, I am in no means saying All Day was trash. I like the song and listen to it as well. I just don't think it deserved first place. Performance wise, I'll try to say this with a grain of salt. It's very hard to compare them since they have such different styles, but I will do it for the sake of this video. All Day is in your face. It's sexy and aggressive. It was fierce. Perfect for thirsty K-pop fans, which I am guilty of as well. I did enjoy the performance a lot. Question on the other hand was sexy but classy, full of charm but in such a slicked back way. They were just natural about it. All Day seemed more intense, but I actually think that Question was overall a harder song. The singing and rapping were very demanding and the choreo involved a lot of jumping. But they sounded great live and performed amazingly. All Day had less demanding vocals and the choreo wasn't more demanding that Question's one was. Rapping wise, the rappers of Question were a lot better, but props to Jun and Hansel because though rapping wasn't their strongest point, they did amazingly. The fact that the votes that counted for the winning song were only the ones of the fans watching this live, the public physically present, was a big mistake because yes, All Day team did a great performance, but they had the most popular members and did this. Of course they won, and of course the team with the lower ranked members, not skin exposure, more slicked back sexy, outstanding song didn't win. Question and the idols who performed it were as good as the first place. They just weren't as known. And like what always happens with talented people that are underrated, they didn't win the place they deserved. Yeah, they won second and still got an MV and live performances at music shows. But the advantage of points really could have made a difference on the Question team. Unnecessary drama. This show made small altercations look like the Third World War when in reality trainees themselves got along just fine. But guess what happened when so and so fought? Someone started to move down on the ranks. It happened to Legion, Jun, Hyasun, among others. Hyasun herself has made an interview with Grazzy TV about this, so please watch that video for further details. Semi, that Who's Your Mama performance was everything, and guess what? It was all thanks to this beautiful talented woman. From the beginning I picked Semi as my favorite contestant. I thought she had an outstanding powerful voice and was full of charm. She had so much potential and wasn't high enough on the ranking. Till Who's Your Mama came. When her team won, she got a lot of attention and went up from place 42 to second place. It was such a special moment and it really gave both Semi and the rest of the contestants hope. I mean, how often does this happen? That was 40 spots higher, like what even? But guess what? The unit started giving Semi less screen time and eventually she went down as low as 13th place. And she didn't make it in the top 9. And that right there was BS, just garbage. She was robbed. Final lineup. With the girls lineup I didn't felt as robbed as with the boys. Girls had strong vocals and dancers. They lacked on the rapping, but some of them were actually decent at it. The only thing that bothered me was Semi, but well, childhood traumas. But I think we can all agree the girls' final lineup was close to perfect. They had a bright future. The boys on the other hand though. And before people come at me in the comments, I don't have nothing against the guys. They are all talented and I like them all. But with that said, it was a group full of dancers. They lacked at everything else. Now hold on. They had decent rappers and vocalists, but that's quite unacceptable for a group that came out of a show with vocalists like Jupe and Rockhan. And rappers like Kanto and Ungchi. Their strongest rapper was Marco and their strongest vocalist was Chan. Yes, they were good, but other idols had so much more potential. And I'm not saying any of the guys didn't deserve winning. I was just and still am disappointed. It just wasn't the strongest lineup that could have been, and they had an extensive amount of talented people. Video budget. The show's main objective was to give idols a second chance, to help them break through the K-pop market. And KBS failed. And it wasn't because the music was bad or the members were untalented. It was because they made horrible quality music videos. Just horrible and didn't fit each group's music at all. They gave both Unity and UNB amazing songs and choreo, so why didn't you just make decent looking music videos? What's up with your budget? Where is it? You had one job, KBS, to give them the tools, and you failed. To enlighten my statement, I will play both group songs and then the music video, and just let me know I'm not the only one that feels the obvious discrepancy between the two of them. Like, KBS just messed up completely and missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They were off to a great start. People were expectant of the group's future and ready to make them known, but it didn't happen because of this label that didn't do their job properly. To conclude this video, I just can say that I hope all the idols that participated on the unit can get the success they wished for. It is never too late. A lot of them have been able to rise, or at least are doing better now, like Ace, DIA, Infact, Hangul, but others have been rather off the radar or not better than before the unit. Kanto, Boyfriend, 100%, Labam, Madtown, Matilda, and the list just goes on. Shows like this always end in tragedy, or at least that is just what I think. Because they either become a successful group but of course later disband, or you don't like the lineup, or your favorite contestant doesn't make it in, or they don't have success. Well, that's the end of today's video. If you like for me to do more videos talking about survival shows, just let me know in the comments, because, oh boy, there are a lot of survival shows that piss me off. And yes, see you. Please stay in your houses, wash your hands frequently, and just take care of yourself. Bye.
내게 말해줘 너 솔직하게 내가 후배라게 너는 맞서 뛰지 마